So hello folks. So as promised, I'm here to do a walkthrough that hopefully will be more helpful to you than what we did in class today. I got good screenshots from people. Thanks so much to everyone who did that for me. And now let's get to it. So to complete peer responses, this is kind of just the basic layout. You need to use Chrome, maybe Firefox or Edge will be okay, but Chrome is the one that I would trust. You're going to access this assignment the same place the drafts were turned in. And that's either a link in your course or MindTap. I'll try to show you where those are. You can always go into the ebook and look in drafts and peer responses or drafts and response work, and you can find it there. Then maybe that's more helpful than other things. You're going to click on the Peer Mark Reviews tab, and then you're going to choose a classmate's paper from the list, one that you've been assigned or one of the 3 extra that you can do. So first, to find your assignments, who you've been asked to review and the instructions, get into your course and scroll down till you see homework for reference, both the assignments and the assignment instructions, like who you've been assigned. That's what I mean by assignments. And the instructions are both in homework for reference. So if I open it up here, you can see the top one. This is the file that shows you who you've been assigned. And I've edited this one a little bit so that it keeps privacy for people. And so I've got some names here. Basically, you look down the left side of the list till you find your name, and then you're going to read across. Those are the people that you're supposed to review. You can choose others if you want to. I will say that if you go to review someone and they do not have a paper submitted, then skip them and do someone else that is among your people that you've been assigned. When you get to the point where they're the only one left that you've been assigned and still haven't turned it in, do someone else. You have to do at least 3. It doesn't really matter which 3. If that person, you need to make one up basically if that person did not turn in a paper. The other thing is the assignment instructions, and those are down here at the bottom. This is a little page here, draft and response locations and instructions. That's what you need to read really closely to make sure that you're doing the work that is that's going to be counted complete in the course. So I've opened it up here. This is not the whole page. I can't get the whole page on a slide. At the top again, it reminds you where stuff is, and then the bottom, you are basically reading 3 classmate essays and you're taking notes on what you see, the way that we talked about with Straub, and then you're going to compile that into a letter to your classmate, and you're going to submit each letter as a separate thing on a discussion board that is in your course. And so I've got here what you can see is to make sure that your classmate's name and the project is at the very top line of your review when you paste it in, so that people can scroll through the discussion board and find it. And then there's lots more stuff in here that you need to do. I don't have the screenshot, as I said, but you can go and read it all for yourself and just make sure that you're doing it. If you just write 1 paragraph with 5 sentences that says basically it's good, you will not get credit for this assignment. And there's really no way to fix it because you can't resubmit. You need to have it, in by a certain time so that the person can use it. So if you have any questions about what is going to pass and what's not here, then you need to give me a call or let me know, and I'll work with you on it. And by pass, I mean basically you either pass this or you don't. That's not like I'm giving a grade or anything, but I do record, when people don't complete things in the way that they need to. And that's the conversation for the end of the course. All right, so once you get into the draft link, you go back to the dashboard. I've kind of cut off the paper title here so you can't see it, but at the top of it, you can see assignment dashboard and then peer mark reviews with the little red dot. You're going to click on peer mark reviews. And once you do that, you'll get into a screen that looks like this, and you have 6 slots where you can do reviews. You don't see anyone there yet because you have to click Start Peer Review on the right-hand side in that blue link. You have to click that to choose someone. It will not automatically populate it for you. So you need to choose at least 3. If you want to choose more than that, that's why the 6 are available. And then after you've left If you don't finish your review, then save it. And when you come back, this is what you'll see: the person's name, the data, the paper name, and then you click on the pencil to restart the review and continue on with it. That's what it looks like. Now, when you click on select or start review, you get to a screen that looks like this. It did take a little while to load today. You basically just scroll through till you find the name of the person that you need to review, and then you're going to go over here to the right hand side and review the submission. Click on that sort of gray block or something, whatever it is, rectangle, and that will take you to the document viewer screen and get you started on that review. Okay, so now we're in the document viewer. It's a little bit different now because I don't have a lot of questions on the right hand side anymore. The only thing that's there is put your first and last name. And the only reason that's there is because we can't tell who did what review if you don't put your name on the paper somewhere. And that's kind of how I decided to do it. Once you have put your name in there, if you get down to the bottom, you can hide that panel and it'll slide it over so that you can see the paper a little bit better. So that's that. So as I said, if you need to open the sidebar to type your name, then you'd open that question sidebar, type your name in it. Then you can click anywhere on the paper to leave additional comments. And be aware that if you don't leave your name, I still know who wrote what. So if I get any kind of complaints about comments, I will come looking for you. So don't make me do that. All right, so saving and submitting here. This is what I was talking about a minute ago. If you need to leave, just go up here to the save in the top right corner and you'll be able to save your work, and then you can come back to it and it'll be everything that you did will still be in there. I wouldn't mess with the submit because maybe you'll decide you want to go and add some things or maybe reread the paper or something, and you won't really be able to do it very well after you've submitted it. They will all submit at the due date. So you don't need to worry about that either. So I would just save these and then do another one. But if you want to submit so that you know who you're done with and who you're not, that's fine too. Now here, this is actually what I was just saying a minute ago. I have it in here twice. Sorry about that. You can come back later and continue your review just by clicking on the pencil, as I said. And if you want to make it so that you know that you've done it, you could submit the one you've done, and then you can tell the blue pencils are the ones you still have. So to work in Peermark, you can click anywhere on the page to leave a comment. I would keep track of the comments that you make in here so that you can use them as part of your letter. Maybe point people to something on page 2 that you talked about and explain it maybe at a little more length in your letter, like what you meant or kind of maybe the pattern that you see with several of the comments that you've made in places. So that's how you do that, and then you just save it when you're done, and then it will not be, it'll just be that little bubble there above where it is, and your classmate will click on that bubble and then it'll open up this box and they can see what you said. So due dates. This is time sensitive because a week from today, which is the 7th, so on the 14th, you're going to start revision work, and revisions are due a week from then. So there's not a lot of time for people to sort of trickle in here. The peer responses have to close on the date and time that's specified in your course, which is 7 a.m. on the due date. Once they're closed, they can't be reopened because then people cannot get to the comments that were made on their papers until it's done. So make sure that you start early. I hope that you used the time today in class. Definitely always do that. Use the time in class to complete everything before the deadline. You can submit some peer letters late, but it hurts your classmates. And after a certain point, it will not matter. I really don't want to have these coming in at the end of the course. They need to come in. If they're going to be late, they need to come in within 24 hours of the due date. So let's talk about that again, maybe in class to clarify that. But after that point, your classmate is moving on and is not able to use what you've done. So you really can't get credit for it either. I don't think it's not fair. It's not living up to our contract. All right, the Straub essay. We went over this in class on earlier in the week, and so this is just the different kind of things that we pulled out of the Straub essay. I'm not going to go over these at a lot of length, but just remember who you are in the process and who you're not. You're not the writer, you're not a teacher, you're not a cruise missile. You're a helpful, friendly person who is trying to help your classmate write better. And your goal here, Straub says some things about that, what your goal is. So if you don't remember this, go back and look at Straub, I guess. When you start response work, you do need to kind of think about the mental checklist. What was the assignment? What were the requirements? If once you have that checklist, if you see a paper that's missing something that was required, definitely talk to them a little bit about that so that they maybe will remember to do it next time. So you're looking for things that you can, mostly kind of big picture things we talked about in class. You don't need to edit every comma. You don't need, unless, the sentence is such a train wreck that you cannot possibly understand it. I wouldn't go too much into, or unless you see a huge pattern of, comma stuff, then if they weren't aware of it before, you can gently let them know now. That's that. And then how long should your comments be? Short and sweet? No, they need to be specific. You need to elaborate on what you're talking about. They don't have to go on forever. I hope that they don't. You're going to actually be able to go on at a little more length in your letter. So keep that in mind. And then how much praise and criticism, we talked about keeping it balanced. So find things that are good about the paper that, tell them what it makes you think about maybe. And then what sort of things do you think would make the writing more effective? And remember your tone here. It's really, really hard to, just like you probably know from email, to get the tone and the intention behind it from written words. So keep that in mind. And here for the context, just remember the assignment information, the stage of the writing. Is it a draft? Is it early in the course or late? What you know about the writer's skills and goals, you'll know more about that after you've done a couple of peer responses in this class, because you're working with the same people, and they're the people at your table for the most part. And then check the writer's memo and see what kinds of things are in that the person was trying to do, and make sure that you address that and answer questions if they're specific enough that you can. Peer response ground rules. Okay, so I didn't do this in one of my classes, so I need to make sure I do it now. Remember that writing is personal, especially these kinds of essays that are personal narratives or literacy narratives. It takes courage to share things that are personal anyway, and writing is kind of bound up in your identity. So honor your classmates' courage by being kind, and honor their courage too by giving honest feedback. If something isn't that great, then let them know gently, but make sure that you don't just kind of try to do the surface level stuff that Straub talks about in that first paragraph of the essay. Make sure that you put something of yourself into it to try to help your classmate become a better writer. Just tell them it's good is not helping anyone. Be specific about what works and what doesn't, and you can give constructive suggestions. One of the best ways to do that is to ask questions like, what would happen if you swap these two scenes, or something like that? Or what would happen if you got rid of your introductory paragraph and just started kind of in the middle of things like that. So that's the kind of constructive stuff that you can do. And I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. I really appreciate all the hard work you're putting in the course, and let me know if I can be of other help to you. Thanks.